Hello everybody, Ben Starr here, and today I am going to teach you how to grill a lobster. Grilling lobster is one of the most delicious ways to prepare it, but a lot of people don't grill the lobster. They boil it or they bake it, and those are actually the two least flavorful ways to prepare a lobster. So today I'm going to teach you how to grill. First thing that you want to do is select your lobster. Now this guy is gigantic. He's about 4 pounds. He's probably 10 years old. You really want lobsters that are about 2 pounds. That's the ideal size for grilling. But sometimes you've got dinner guests that really just want to tuck into a gigantic lobster this big, so sometimes you have to go with these. But ideally, you want a 2-pound lobster. You want to select one from the tank that's very lively. This one isn't super lively because he's been in my freezer for about 15 minutes, and he's still looking around though, and he's moving around his little gills here. So make sure you've got a lively lobster that will respond when you pull it out of the tank. First thing you're going to do is bring it home and dispatch it, or kill it, basically, in order to eat it. And we want to do that in the most humane way possible. Now, there are 2 schools of thought on killing a lobster the most humane way. The first that you'll often see chefs do is to split it along the carapace right here, behind its head. You drive the knife in and split it right between the eyes, and that results in instant death. Now, there's a problem with that. If you're taking your lobster and preparing it any way, whether that means grilling or boiling, if you split it, your boiled water is going to invade the interior of the lobster and it's going to dilute the flavor, and it's just not going to taste very good. So I prefer to use the freezing method. You're going to put your lobster in the freezer for 30-45 minutes. He's going to slowly go to sleep, go into dormant stage, and then pass away peacefully in his sleep. And then it will be time for what we call a parboil. So first things first, I'm going to put him back in my freezer and let him go to sleep. So while your lobsters are going to sleep, you need to do 2 things. Prepare your parboil water and prepare your grill. I've got this giant pot right here that I actually use for brewing beer and making tamales. And so I like to do it out in the garage, especially if you're grilling in the summer. You don't want to be boiling a bunch of water on your stovetop because it heats up your kitchen. But if you do not have an exterior propane burner and a giant stock pot like this, you can parboil your lobsters one at a time on the stovetop. But right now I'm heating up my water, and you want to make sure your water tastes about as salty as the ocean. Same way for pasta. Your water needs to be thoroughly salty in order to impart good flavor. Next thing to do is to start your charcoal. Do not grill lobster on a propane grill. You might as well just boil it or bake it. Propane grill produces absolutely no flavor. It does not give you any benefit at all. So if you only have a propane grill, boil your lobster or bake your lobster. If you're grilling any kind of meat, you want to use charcoal because that produces natural wood smoke that gives whatever you're grilling flavor. And you never want to use the self-starting charcoal because all that is full of nasty chemicals that are going to make your food taste exactly like the chemicals. Use a natural hardwood charcoal that's only made out of wood. Get yourself a chimney starter. They're 15 bucks. You wad up some regular black and white newspaper in the bottom, light it. After you've done a couple of those, your charcoal is going to light, but it's going to take a good 15 to 20 minutes for all of the charcoal in the starter to get ignited. Once that's ready, I'm going to dump this into my grill, close the top, and let those grates heat up really nicely. Then we're going to put our lobster in the parboiler for a few minutes and chunk it on the grill. All right, when your water is good and boiling, you take your lobster and you plop him in. A lobster that size is going to need about 5 minutes, but your regular 2-pound lobsters only need to be in the water for 3 minutes. We're not fully cooking the lobster, we're just parboiling it, giving it a head start so that it doesn't dry out on the grill. If you've got a large pot like this, you can cook 2 2-pound lobsters at a time. But if you're working on your stovetop, 1 lobster at a time, 3 minutes per lobster, then take them out. All right, after 3 minutes, I'm going to reach in, get out your lobsters, and they've turned a beautiful bright red by this point. And of course, like I said, if you've got larger lobsters, they may need to stay in there for 5. But 2-pound lobsters like these, 3 minutes is perfect. Now it's time to split them and get them on the grill. Now we need to split our lobsters in half to prep them for the grill. First thing that you want to do is take off the claw, and you do that by just twisting it right off. Set it aside, and I'll show you what to do with it later. Let me get both our claws off here. Now, You want to take your lobster, stretch it out, put it right in front of you, and you'll see on the lobster's carapace right here, two kind of plates meet in a joint there. You want to take a very strong, sturdy knife, push straight down into the lobster like that, and then bring that down there. You see the stuff oozing out, it's called the tomale, and I'll explain that in a second. You want to rotate your lobster, get your knife back in there, and make sure you've got a really sharp knife and you're doing this in one swift stroke, right down through the shell, all the way through the tail to cut your lobster in half. All right? Now inside, you're going to find this yellowish or greenish stuff that's called the tomale. Some people love to eat that, but if you are dealing with a virgin lobster audience or people that only eat lobster like once or twice a year, they're probably not going to want that. Now, it is crucial at this point that you do not run your lobster under running water to rinse it, because that's going to take all the flavor away. So if you want to get rid of the tomale, just brush it away with some paper towels. All right, so you can see I'm cleaning the tomale out here. And you'll also notice my setup. I've got my cutting board inside a rimmed baking sheet. These lobsters are full of juice, and you don't want that to go all over your kitchen. But those juices are also great for making sauces or soups. So ideally you want to collect all these juices that are in here later and keep them because they are invaluable. They've got lots of flavor and you don't want to waste that. Okay. Now for your claws, you want to make a break in the claw so that the smoke from the fire can get inside the claw. All right, so just take the bottom part of a heavy knife, hold it firmly, and give it a crack. And that's all. Now our claw is ready for the grill. Alright, so now we're going to prep the lobster for the grill by brushing it with a little bit of butter. Now this is butter that I have melted slowly over the stovetop with a few cloves of garlic minced and the juices left over from cutting up the lobster along with a little bit of salt. So this is a really, really flavorful butter, and we're just going to brush the meat with this butter to protect it. We're going to continue doing this throughout the grilling process. Now when your grill is nice and hot, preheated, ready to go, you're going to take your lobster, and for the first 30 or 45 seconds, we're going to put it meat side down on the grill. This is going to give us some really nice grill marks. But you do not want to grill the lobster the entire time on the meat side, otherwise it's going to dry out and burn. So just leave it there maybe 30 seconds maximum before you flip it shell side down. After about 30 or 45 seconds, you want to get your lobster up and flip him shell side down. Now we're going to let a 2-pound lobster grill for about 5 or 6 minutes. Don't close the hood of the grill, otherwise it's going to get too hot in there. You want the fire to be as far away from the lobster as possible, relatively gentle heat. We're going to sear in those juices. Those lobsters are going to be ready in about 4 more minutes. Every minute or so during the cooking process, we're going to continue to baste the lobster with our garlic and lobster juice butter. That will help keep that meat moist and delicious as it cooks. All right, and after about a total of 4 or 5, maybe 6 minutes of grilling time, our lobsters come off. And there we have it, delicious grilled lobster. It's going to be tender, it's going to be juicy and lovely. The only thing you need to serve this with is that beautiful garlic and lobster juice butter that we made earlier. And that is going to make somebody very, very happy. I'm Ben Starr. Thanks for watching today as I taught you how to grill a lobster. Hit my website, benstarr.com, for lots more recipes, cooking techniques, and pictures from my travels all over the world. Thanks and have a great day.